The compact sedan segment has one strong player, and that's the Desire. And in a bid to take a slice out of that pie, Ford have released this, the new Aspire. It's just been launched at a very competitive price, undercuts its rivals, in fact the older Aspire too. And what Ford have done with the new Aspire, they've freshened up the look, it's now more flashier, they've added more equipment, and there's two new engines. What's it all like? Well, we are in Jodhpur with the new 1.2 petrol and the 1.5 diesel to find out. As far as styling goes, the front end is similar to that of the Freestyle. The fog lights are surrounded by large chrome brackets and the nose carries a diamond mesh grille. And the headlamp surrounds are finished in black. At the sides, the alloys have gone up an inch in diameter to 15, while at the rear, things remain largely unchanged with only a mild reprofile of the bumper. On the insides, there are a few cosmetic updates and equipment additions like 2 USB ports and auto headlamps and wipers. But the biggest update is the addition of a touchscreen and a rear view camera. Lower trims get a larger 7-inch unit, while the top end gets a smaller 6.5-inch display, but with the Ford Sync 3 Connect system and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And just like in the Freestyle, the display is super clear and the screen is very responsive to touch, easily one of the best around. As far as engines go, the diesel engine is the same, but the 1.5-litre 100 horsepower unit has been retuned for a marginal bump in efficiency, and it's mated to a new lighter 5-speed manual gearbox. It remains much the same to drive, which means that performance is strong with power available nice and early at around the 1500 RPM mark. Refinement too is good, but it does sound harsh above 3500 RPM. The two petrol engines, however, are new to the Aspire. Let's begin with the smaller one. The 1.2-litre 4-cylinder engine has been replaced by a more powerful 1.2-litre 3-cylinder Dragon series engine, which is also slightly more fuel efficient. Debuted in the Freestyle, and it too gets the new 5-speed manual gearbox. And this is the car that we're driving first. Fords are fun to drive, and no, I'm not just towing their company line, but we've always liked how their cars feel from, well, right here behind the wheel. And this new Aspire, well, it's no exception. Although the 1.2 petrol motor does not quite live up to the part. The trouble is a weak bottom end. Below 3000 RPM, well, there just isn't enough grunt. Performance is a bit too sedate, and you really have to work the gearbox to get a move on. Beyond 3000 though, it's just fine. And you can rev it all the way to its 6500 RPM red line. It does get noisy though. I'm not sure if you can pick that up. But you know what? It's a nice sound. Sounds like a little race motor. It's just that in everyday conditions and traffic situations, it will feel dull. Now, if a small petrol is not what you want, there is also the Dragon 1.5-litre 3-cylinder engine that first surfaced in the EcoSport. And it takes the place of the Aspire's older 1.5-litre 4-cylinder unit. Power is 11 horsepower more and torque is increased by 14 Newton meters. Like before, this larger petrol is only available with a 6-speed auto, although the earlier car's dual clutch box has been replaced by a cheaper torque converter unit. As a result, there is a marginal drop in efficiency, and I mean a really small drop. Unfortunately, this petrol was not available for us to try out. Where the Aspire really excels is in the ride and handling and the steering department. The steering feel, it's nicely weighted and it's pretty entertaining around corners too. And as for the ride, it's brilliant. You can just power over all of the rough bits and the suspension just soaks it all up. Now on to more practical bits like space at the rear. It isn't a class leader and shoulder room is tight, so 3 people will find it a squeeze. The front though feels roomy enough and I found it quite easy to find a good driving position. The boot too is quite handy at 359 litres. Ford may have taken their time updating their Spire, and the space inside remains the same. Also, the 1.2 litre petrol lacks punch at lower revs, but it gets better as you go higher. And that, along with a well-weighted steering and a superbly set up suspension that delivers a great balance of ride and handling, makes this little Ford typically fun to drive. And if that's what you're after, the Aspire fits the bill. Yes, including the diesel too. But it's not only fun and games. Ford have also added equipment, given it keener pricing, and have even thrown in a class-leading 5-year warranty. All in all then, the new Aspire does offer a very credible option in the compact sedan segment.